If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dust Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dust Wheel. Hey, welcome back to the Dust Wheel. I'm your host, Inkeeper, and this is your live calling talk show all about the Wheel of Time. Yeah, we're back. I don't even remember the last time we were on. I think it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was our 5th anniversary, and Inkeeper Hatch is, I think he's in Prague now because there's something happening over there this weekend that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I was like on vacation for a couple of weeks, just enjoying time, and I was like, hey, let's get back because the people who bring us news, What Series and John from What Up have been doing some really cool stuff, releasing season 3 news, even though it is like week 2 of when Rings of Power has been on. I don't know if you guys have been watching that. I have enjoyed it a lot, and I asked in our pre-show, will we get a teaser for season 3 of the Wheel of Time with the finale of Rings of Power season 2? And to talk about all these news, and there's a video that John released today that we'll talk about. Two wonderful people, Tom from tel'aran'rhiod and Kevin Angus from Tarvalon After Dark, but really Twitter of Time, Theory Crew, so many other things
around.
Yeah. Tom,
generally.
I feel like I've been trying to get you on a Wednesday night for I don't know how long, so thank you for being here.
Of course. Love to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So how would you guys answer this? Will we get a teaser for Tom, season 3 Wheel of Time with the finale in 5 weeks from now?
I mean, I think there's two answers. There's what I hope and I guess what I truly believe. No, I don't think that we are going to get a teaser for it. Yeah, I feel like for whatever reason, I feel like Amazon wants to keep these things slightly separated. That's just my instinct, though. There's no inside scoop.
Right. Let me bring it down a little bit. Will we get a mention of the Wheel of Time, like a thing saying also on Prime Video, the Wheel of Time season 3 coming soon?
I think you might get a when it's over. You like the next thing up in queue, right? Wheel of Time. Okay. Like here's season 2 of Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Like the next thing, if you like this, you
other
might
people
watch.
like this.
Yeah, exactly. You might get that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm trying to give you something.
I know that's what I'm like. What kid? You're like, no. Rings of Power is just gonna ride that the thrill that it's on. I mean, I don't know if the two of you have seen Rings of Power, or saw it last season 1 or season 2. Kevin, I know you. I feel like you have. Tom, have you?
I haven't seen any of season 2.
Okay. All right. It is.
You could spoil things for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of a And not surprisingly, right? They heard their fan base, or they heard the people, and they made. I liked season 1 anyways. I didn't really care for much of the lore, even though I know some of it. I was like, fine. Things changed, but I think they changed it. And Kevin, do you agree that it's quite hooking in terms of it's entertainment and enjoying the story, maybe compared to season 1 at the start.
Yeah, I would say definitely it moves faster, and I feel like the hooks sink in faster too. Because I think what happened with me is I tried to watch season 1 when it aired, and I watched the first episode, and when something doesn't get me, like I just don't give it. I'd rather watch it at a time where I immediately get hooked in, so I can enjoy it at the most. But if it doesn't strike me the first time I watch it, I'll put it down, and
Yeah.
if I go back to it, I will. So I didn't even think about it for quite a while, and then I picked it up, last month, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I waited. This is I think what it was is I actually saw the season 2 trailer, and I
Cool
thought, wow,
trailer.
this looks really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
This is a really good trailer. And I was like, all right, I'll watch season 1. I'll see what it's about, and if it gets me this time, cool. But if I stall again, I'll just won't bother.
Yeah.
But it really caught me this time, and I think that the second season picks up faster, and I think there's more to hook you immediately, rather than like the first episode last time where I just kind of walked away and I didn't get hooked immediately. I think that I think it does a better job, and I think you could probably thank the setups that season 1 afforded them.
Right.
They set up a lot of dominoes, and they only just started pushing them over. So
Yeah.
I think that has helped, and I think they're having a similar sophomore glow up that Wheel of Time
Yeah.
experienced,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, there it was always a bigger, more established IP to begin with, so their glow up seems more significant. But I would say that it's, from what I've seen so far, I'd say it seems like it's improved a similar percentage to what Wheel of Time improved from season 1 to 2, from what I've seen in the
Right.
first 3. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Patrick's like, damn, ROP's damn good. I downed this hill.
Yeah.
Was slow but very Tolkien, and the ending was a banger. Kev. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
And I've never been a huge Tolkien guy. Like, I've tried the audiobooks, and they never really got me. And I've watched the movies, as most people have, and I know that those deviated a plenty. But
Mhm.
I'm always an adaptation apologist at heart, so
Yeah.
the changes wouldn't have bothered me anyway. Now I'm like Elsa like that or whatever.
People like the sophomore glow up there. So I think
All three Kev chat. Awesome.
yeah, the fact that I think, not that it's directly related, but the fact that a prime fantasy show doing well, I think bodes well for the Wheel of Time, in general. I think, even though it's maybe hard to know how that works, but I think fantasy doing well is going to be good for the Wheel of Time, because people are like, oh, what else is on Prime? Let's go watch the Rings of Power. If it's good and people like it, then they'll end up watching Wheel of Time too, I think. But let's get to some of the cool things that What Series has been giving to us for a very long time, and kind of talk about a long time doing something. Tom, there's a special kind of occasion coming up for tel'aran'rhiod too, right?
Oh, that's true. I didn't
Yes.
know that we were going to go there, but yeah, our 5th anniversary is technically in 4 days.
Okay.
So we're not going to do anything for it this weekend, just because of our own scheduling stuff. But we're going to be celebrating that soon. 5 years of us doing that pod, which is bananas.
Yeah.
We've done, like, I think over 255 episodes, and there's been 16 episodes of the show, which is
Right.
I don't know what that ratio is off the top of my head, but probably too crazy.
Yeah. No.
Impressive.
And this is just we've only had 2 seasons, right? So.
Right. We Joe and Jen and I often joke about the fact that, like, we'll be grandparents by the time the where we wrap up the pod, at the rate that they're going. But hopefully we'll start to see a little bit quicker turnaround time between seasons.
Yeah. So
2 years per season.
I tuned into your recording the last one you had, and you talked about objects of the power. And so what we'll get to, and I'm going to put this up for now, that the show will contain spoilers. We will talk about John's from What Up, his latest video that was released, I don't know, a few hours ago today, talking about season 3 of the Wheel of Time and objects of the power, Angrael, Sangreal, Trongrael. But we might not go into all the things John talks about. We'll talk about the objects of power and how they, the ones that he mentions and talks about, and how they might be incorporated based on what we know about them. So the reason I'm doing this, I don't want to get into this discussion of talking about, okay, how will this play out without really knowing too much. Plus, also, if you don't want to know and you don't, for some reason, watch John's stuff but watch our stuff, I want you to go watch his video and get that information. We like to talk leaks and all of that news, but I think certain things, let's focus on the objects of power and things like that. John's also released a couple of really cool stuff regarding certain Watt series cast announcements regarding I think they did back in maybe in the spring or early summer. So let's start with that. The first one that the Watt series and Geekieri put out was this. I think it was last week. I can't tell the time now, but it was these two people, Frederick Wagner and Michael Lindell, cast in the Wheel of Time season 3 ? Again, these are all wonderful kind of sleuthing that these folks do. And again, there is no new cast announcement from season 3 of the Wheel of Time officially, but the two have mentioned at least. The first person, Frederick Wagner, is possibly going to be in episodes 3 and 4 at least, because Thomas Napper, who's doing that block, is he's mentioned on the CV. So based on that, it's hard to know much more than that, what that means. I don't know, Kevin. I felt like you did, kind of top of your head, first kind of what came to your mind. I don't remember what that was, but where are you landing with these at least that first. Let me put it on screen so you can.
Or the guy on the left. I think I said Gleeman, but that was before I just saw the picture and I just kind of went with my gut. I didn't realize that was the guy who had like body cast or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he had some kind of casting
cast.
done to his body. Yeah. So I don't actually, I've been meaning to look it up and I just haven't had a chance. Do you know what that means? Like I don't think I know.
So it's what they would use to make prosthetics for a person or to make like a dummy of a person, like to make a full body prosthetic. So he was getting a life cast, I believe, of his upper body, not his full body. But yeah, that would be either he's going to get prosthetics onto his face or they're going to have a dummy version of him on the show somewhere.
Gotcha. So he could be like a creature such as like a drag car, or he could be like half his torso gets disintegrated by like a blast of fire. So they have to have a dummy there to rep for that purpose.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. So I'm going to stick with Gleeman
with
in that case, because I'm going to guess that Gleeman gets fried. He gets fried with like a half a blast of fire or something.
Okay. I think this is. Let me end our poll. There's a good 40% here, on this poll that will think.
I said yes.
A teaser. I have put teaser. I really should have put like a glimpse or mention.
I meant sizzle reel personally. Like I meant like maybe like a 2-second snip that we could have like a 3-hour live stream about.
Yeah.
Like in a massive sizzle
personally,
reel.
what I would be okay with would be a season 2 like season 2 images and be like this coming next year or something like that. Like even that. I think is like anything, anything,
literally like, stay tuned.
This exists too.
Give me a season. Give me a season. Give me a spring 2025. I'll take that.
Yeah, I think that would.
I'm not asking for much.
Well, if you get release time frame, I think So let me ask. I'm gonna not that I want to, but I think just for the sake of let me get both of your thoughts on the second person, who is Michael Lindell. And
Yes.
Michael, based on, again, things that Geekieri and co looked at, was AIF, in Prague, but that's not the only reason, right? He was seen in Prague, and then also seen maybe on the Two Rivers set. So he's someone who makes it over to the Two Rivers, and then was also seen in photos with Marcus, Maya Simonson, and Ayula. So again, people who we know will be in the Two Rivers. So those are the two people. Let me go to you, Tom, with your thoughts on who the two of these folks. We can have a poll up to 4 people here. Gleeman being one. Who do you think the two are playing?
Oh, that's right. I had seen. The thing is, he was actually on my radar from a while back because I'd seen him in social media posts with those people to the point where I was like, "Oh, watch him be Gaul." So that was when they listed him there. I'm like, if he's hanging out with Maya, like,
Yeah.
Okay.
and Gaul would be with close with Marcus and Baron. So that was where I was like, oh, he looks like a Gaul to me. A Gaul it is, So.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I love that. I do. My first instinct was, oh, he was probably a White Cloak, and that's just because of his mustache in the
True.
picture.
That's
But
fair.
I mean,
I
That's
think
fair,
that
though.
I think he's gonna be Lord Luke. That's my guess, and it's for a similar reason. And I think that I would say this: the fact that he is seemingly friends with a lot of the cast members implies that he's not like Guy in the background. I mean, he could just be. He could have an awesome personality and just be Guy in the background in scene 2. But like, I think that he's gonna have a part of some substance, and I do think that Slayer is in this season, and I don't know who it is yet. So I think that this guy could pass for someone who is
you're
related.
talking about Michael.
Wouldn't it be
Lindell,
funny if they're both
on the left, on
They're
the right?
They're both.
they're both Slayer?
Yes, the one on the
Luke
right.
and
I'm
Isaac.
talking
Oh, so the
about.
one on the right, you're saying Lord
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah, that's Michael Lindell.
Yeah.
For Frederick, I tend to agree with Kevin in the fact that like he's probably Guy who gets murdered horribly.
Okay.
I'm gonna say like he's he's like a Two Rivers person who was mauled by a Trolloc.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
This season's Tom Thane or whoever has got the axe through him during the dance.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I was totally gonna mess up this poll because I was giving like the 4 choices, but then people can only choose one. But there's like 2. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
The way I thought of this was gonna be like horrible. I was this close to like saying enter on it, and I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. Who is? Let's start with Frederick Wagner first. Going to play. And so for him it was Gleeman, and you said someone who dies, but who
I said a two Rivers villager mauled by a Trolloc.
Okay, Two Rivers.
Oh, and you could add Will Alcine to that to Lindahl as well, maybe, because he's a pretty prominent Two Rivers person in the Perrin's army kind of area. So I was trying to rack my mind of like names of people in Perrin's army in the Two Rivers, and I can't that's like the first one that comes to mind, but
Yeah.
there's got to be other names that pop up too potentially.
Okay, who's Frederick Wagner going to play? Those are the 2 choices. Let's see what people say to that, and then we can do Michael Lindell with Gaul. Gaul, and I forget. You went with Lord Luke. Yeah, Lord Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those.
I think that's a really solid one. I didn't even think of him.
Yeah,
I-
that's interesting. People are saying Wagner is Finn, and Dana Liu saying that. So is Jennifer here.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Just
right?
because of the life cast. Is that why? Yeah, that.
Right, you need prosthetics. You could have. There was somebody else who was cast. They announced this many moons ago, who has like a history of playing like motion capture creature types.
Okay. Andy
I,
Serkis, yeah.
yeah, it was Andy. So yeah, no, I don't call the actor's name off the top of my head, but like that's the person who I think is most likely to play the Finn on the show. If
Okay.
there's if it's like a Finn that talks, like,
Mhm.
but they can be more than one. There's more than one in the books, so
Yeah.
this guy can be a Finn too, sure.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, no. People are saying, like Finn.
No drag car love. That like
Yeah,
book 4
I
is
sh-
like one of the
I sh- I-
preeminent drag car books.
Yeah. It's the first. So it's a pull after a while. I was like, how do these work? We can only choose one. Yep, we can only choose one. They're all Finn, is what Joe Perry's saying. So yeah, there you go. And so I think the fact that when we've had some of these castings in the past, I feel like like the Eludran casting, right, and what that turned out to be. So like we don't even have a name for these two people.
Right.
So I always feel like whenever I've talked to Omar about like someone being like them releasing, is like, this is like like someone who got their name in the Wheel of Time credit, and people just jump on, and these folks have enough of a acting kind of background that you can have not a small role. I mean, I don't think Lord Luke or Gaul is a small character, but for a TV series that's this big, spanning these many books, if he has 3 scenes, that might be it. How much can we really expect from characters like that, Tom?
Well, if I think in general that you're right. I mean, Avienda's one of the main characters in the series. How many scenes did she have in season 2? Really?
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, so I think these are the level of actors who could play parts like that. I don't think that those are a stretch, with the caveat, which I think is what you were trying to say in the beginning, like, odds are this is like Two Rivers man at the table.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laughing Gleeman. That's their credit in
right. And again, no disrespect to these folks. Like
no,
it's more of a like
that's,
yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah.
They're the ones that slip through the cracks.
Right. Yeah.
That let their CVs get updated when they shouldn't have.
Right.
Exactly. But I do have, just as I said before, because of like who Michael Lindell's been like with, and like seems to be hanging out with the cast and have developed relationships with them, that's another sign that this person has a part that's at least a big scene or in multiple episodes or things of that nature. So I always dream big, and usually I'm wrong, but I think we might be right here. I think between Kevin, myself, yourself, and everyone in chat, one of us has got it right.
Yeah. There you go. All right. I am gonna end this so we can get to Michael Lindell. People are going with the Two Rivers. I think that might just be like a more.
It's evocative, I was too. I didn't.
Yeah. People want to see the trollop pots. They saw.
Honestly, we were deprived in season 2.
What was in the pot in season 2? Was it just potatoes or something, or like just water? There was a pot, but there was nothing really in it.
There. Oh.
Did they even show what's in it, or just like the side of it? I have to go back. It's when they go into where they find the Myrddraal, the Fade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
Right.
There is a pot.
Yeah.
There is a pot. There. Someone tell me if I'm making this up and like just remembering because I want it to be there.
I can picture it.
I picture it too, but yeah, you don't see it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm not making it up. There was a pot with potatoes, right? Yeah. Okay. This is. I know this because I screenshotted all the snacks. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace.
Hey, we each to
someone's
got
to do the job.
Right. Exactly. Right.
That's it.
The important things, right? The important things.
I love that.
So yeah,
the hero we need. Really.
Yes, exactly. There you go. So Michael Lindell, who will Michael Lindahl play. And this Lord Luke was a candidate. Gaul.
Will Alcine.
Will Alcine,
right?
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like or a Two Rivers speaking role at least, you know.
Will Alcine, or I can't even think of another Two Rivers person's name. Jack Alcine? No, is that?
So yeah, that is. What's his name?
Sen Bui.
Ewan Fingar. Is that one of the?
Oh yeah, that is one of them. Yeah.
I'm just literally just thinking of names.
Or who's the fourth Taviran boy? Who's that?
Daniel Lewin.
Daniel Lewin.
Daniel
Yeah,
Lewin,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe it's Daniel Lewin. Yeah.
It's Daniel Lewin.
Or White Cloak. Yeah,
White Cloak.
Okay.
Chat,
yeah. That's it, yeah.
I mean, why don't you give us a named White Cloak from chat? You know, let's go a little bit.
Oh, what about Buyer?
Yeah.
Oh, you want Child Buyer? Okay, yeah. I think that.
I just recently saw Child Buyer on Twitter just kind of resurface.
I mean,
so
Child Buyer, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I
didn't think about that. Yeah, I can see that. That.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done this, right, where they haven't shown a certain character that we're like, oh, like Elias, they got rid of him, but then they would bring him back, and maybe not in the same capacity, and but the person comes back in some way. So I think there's buyers definitely. People are saying that that's definitely a possibility. So while people kind of talk about that, again, we get these snippets. But the other thing that John actually came out with, I think end of last week, was a couple of let me try to find this. What series talked about these two folks? I feel like at the beginning of the summer or so, and particularly two casting or people that thought were in South Africa with a character, a cast member who they thought would be playing someone named Migran, Maigran, and that's someone, again, spoilers for The Shadow Rising, is in the Road to the Spear in Rand's kind of flashback sequence. One of the people that is heavily featured, so we knew that there was someone with that name. And what John did was, I'm pretty sure. Let me find it for you so I can. Yep, this is the article.
I know those chords.
Yeah, but no, this isn't the one. I'm looking for the one he put out for the IE.
He put it out, I think it was last Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So the Watt series actually had this back in March. Wow. Okay. Time flies, right? So back in March, when they talked about the rap, they talked about these four suspected cast, and the two people on the left, Ferdinand McKay and Kieran Kibali Dwyer, are the two that John got names for, cast actually, character names, and they were like, okay, these people were in Cape Town. They were seen with Duskova, who's the actor who was playing Migran. So it's like, okay, if these people were seen with her, could they be people who are in the same sequence? Because it's a flashback sequence. So I was like, okay, the two people he named were Charlin and Elijah, and I was like, okay, let's try to figure out who these folks are. And I went back and went to The Shadow Rising, and let's maybe read a little bit from The Shadow Rising. Kevin, maybe you can read this for us,
sure,
just to kind of get a sense. Okay, what's going on here?
His companions scrambled closer, bundled as he was, kicking rocks and muttering until he was sure they would wake the men below. He did not complain. He was no more used to this than they. Dust veils hid their faces, but he could make out who was who. Luca, with his shoulders half again as wide as anyone else's. He liked to play tricks. Giran, lanky as a stork, and the best runner among the wagons. Charlin and Elijah, alike as reflections, except for Charlin's habit of tilting his head when he was worried, as he was now. Their sister Colleen was down in that camp, and Migran, Lewin's sister. That's all the names you just said.
Yes. So
and some.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a group of people. Migrant is who actually gets captured, and there's a group of people that go down and fight, and the two of these are among that group. I like that. A dust veils, right? Just the fact that that's there. That's really cool, and the fact that Luca is someone who liked to play tricks, and I was like, well, that name came up again in someone who had a circus. So it was just interesting as I was reading. I was like, okay. So again, we're getting more and more kind of confirmation that this glass columns kind of in a sequence is going to be heavily, at least, featured in this season. And again, and not surprisingly, because it's one of the most people like love that sequence for many reasons. It's probably a lot of people's favorite part, if not of that book, of the whole series. How excited are you, of seeing that on the screen, Tom? Like, is this going to be like is this like Rand's episode? Is it like episode 4 or 6 or whatever it may be, and like it shows kind of his journey through there?
Yeah, I've been on this for a while actually. I think it's gonna be episode 4, and I think episode 4 is going to be I think that's gonna be episode entitled Rhuidean, and like the entire episode will take place there, and the only cuts will be from Rand going through the columns and then seeing whoever else is in Rhuidean, like what they're doing, but never leaving that city, not seeing any other storylines or anything else. I think that's what that episode's going to do, and I think a sizable part of that episode is going to be the Road to the Spear, kind of that whole sequence. I think Rafe said in many interviews one of the things that he thinks separates the Wheel of Time from other fantasy fiction are the Aes Sedai, and that's why they're so heavily featured. And he pulled a lot of their presence that isn't in the first few books into the first few seasons to really kind of plant the flag. The Aiel are the other thing. Like, yeah, I think people who haven't read the books might go, hey, they look like Fremen. But like that culture and the way it's portrayed and this huge twist about their origin is something that separates the Wheel of Time from a lot of other fantasy fiction. I think they're going to lean heavily into it.
Yeah, I think we have limited time, right? Shadow Rise is a huge book. A lot of things happen. We've already gotten information. At least there's 4 maybe potential plot lines that we have to get to. So, and again, this is like I'm trying to word this in a good way, but like, in terms of like spending a whole episode on the Aiel's history, as important as it is and as great as it is, how do they make it relevant to the story of the season? I think is going to be interesting. Kevin, do you think like spending that much time, like for 3 Aiel characters that we've seen till now, like how are they going to make that important for us for other viewers to be like, oh, okay, that's cool that I wanted to know about these people and why it matters what happened in the past.
Yeah, I think that I like the vision of the like majority of the episode. I think when I had first envisioned a similar concept, it would be like kind of like how they approached episode 3, where we have a really long opening, like a prologue like opening to the episode of 15, maybe even like a third of the episode, 20 minutes is him starting the journey through the columns, and then title sequence finally at some point, and then we get some of the other events that are happening, kind of like you were saying, Tom, as well, like where you have interweaving of the similar plot lines that are in there. And it's not in doing the kind of like character reviews with Rob, I've noticed that pretty much every every character has at least one episode where they're not present. So if
Yeah.
that's episode 4, then that's episode 4, and everyone else can be more ensemble for the rest of the season and interwoven. But I think that the way that it seems like they've kind of grouped the characters, I think that more of the plot lines are going to be in the waste than not. So I think that the threads that we'll see kind of still woven in there are relevant enough that it'll kind of stay central to the theme of the episode, and I think it probably will be one of the highest rated episodes of the season
Yeah.
by the end of it all. But I think that I think showing that and then maybe interspersing other scenes with like the other characters and what they're experiencing and how that might tie into what Rand is experiencing. Like we see Moraine passing something, and then we see that thing being placed in the columns when they're in Rhuidean, like things like that. Like we see the echoes of the
Right.
past and the present as it's happening in some cases,
Yeah.
or where it's relevant or thematically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I see it because we've got a lot of people that go to Rhuidean at the same time. Avienda's in there, Moraine's in there, Matt may not be in there, questionable. I've got
Hmm.
theories on that, but that's not for this episode.
Right.
We got Rand in there, and then Lan is presumably out. Egwene is out in the waste as well,
Hmm.
presumably. And so that's a huge chunk of the characters that are the main core cast in one place at the same time, which really didn't happen in season 2 at all.
Right.
They were kind of all scattered and then they
Hmm.
re-centralized. So um, I think that they'll use that to their advantage for that episode and kind of, yeah, like a bottle episode, Brian. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
effectively in a
Yeah.
way.
I think the opportunity here. Not that we don't have great flashback sequences, but to add to that, to actually see maybe the like, because I think I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but I think Alexander Kareem was seen in South Africa,
Mhm.
and the fact that Natasha Keefe could be there, the fact that Latra, with that, like showing more of the Hall of the Servants and more White Tower, or like not White Tower, but Aes Sedai
Mhm.
kind of background. That's the sort of thing that I'm really interested. Like, what can you add, or at least show on the screen, where a few words, however great they were, that you can expand on and really even show more. And not that the Aiel history is not important, but maybe that's not the focus of the whole flashback
Mhm.
sequence.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think the show has taken a very, very measured approach to world building,
Mm-hmm.
like introducing ideas, then maybe a season later explaining what it was that you saw a season ago and like what that is, and like going further into it. So I think this is your opportunity to really show what the Age of Legends was like, to show like what the breaking of the world was like in
Mhm.
ways that they haven't really been able to do or they haven't spent a lot of time doing.
Yeah.
And you can do that through like a visual narrative and not just, characters doing monologues about history. Um, I also think it's important, like, what happens in that has resonance in other storylines as well, right? So, like, Rand finding out about the secret history of the Aiel is also the secret history of Tuathanon, and that
Right.
like that then echoes in Perrin's storyline. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
so, and you have what happens to Aram like being this reflection of what
Mm-hmm.
happened to the Aiel in the past, and like so
That could even happen in the episode prior or the episode following this one. I could totally see that happening. Yeah.
yeah. So it's I think it's something that like they really I think they will be invested in getting it as right as it needs to be, because I think you're spot on. It has the opportunity to do more than what it does in the books.
Right. Yeah.
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 I think what you
Just
said about Alexander Kareem, it was one of my favorite things I've thought of as a possibility is that we like say the last 10 minutes is all the final, the final one where the final iteration of the columns before he makes it through. He's as far back as he can go in the Age of Legends. He not only sees Lanfear perhaps Lanfear, but he sees his old self. He sees Lews Therin, and then when he sees if Lews Therin has manifested physically to him prior to this point, that will scare him. If he hasn't manifested before this point and now he starts manifesting, he immediately it locks it in for the audience and for Rand.
Mm-hmm.
This is who he is hallucinating. Like we have the cold opens, of course, but like you have to hammer these things for a TV audience. You have to. That's just how storytelling works in this format. So I would not be surprised if they use this as a seeding of Rand's future hallucinations. He sees Lews there and in some way, or he sees a poster of him or a picture of him or something,
Yeah. I mean,
something along those lines.
Yeah, they tried to plant that when he went down into the other world, and he's like, "Oh, I've been here before." He says something to the back where he has that flashback of Shamanal and Lews Therin there. But I think you're right. I think it's the history of Rand, or the history of the dragon, is showing that. I don't know why you were questioning seeing Lanfear. I mean, we're gonna see Mirren. Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Like I think the concept of the Dark One isn't really there in the show right now. There's this concept of the shadow and why you turn to the shadow, but like the Dark One as a force with the true power being there, and why what the bore is and things like that. There's so much potential to show that with this. So I think an hour or 50 minutes. I saw someone talk about
I said 20 minutes for like 1/3 of an episode. I'm just assuming 60 minutes. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but I try to be up.
Kev was like, I haven't been keeping up with, do we have confirmation of 8 times 60? We don't have confirmation, but we have confirmation. We have.
That's my assumption.
Yeah, I think 8 for sure, because just based on the kind of what series informants, I guess. But the 60 minutes is hard to say. I'd be surprised if it'd be anything less. I think it'll be around the same time frame as season 2, and cutting down the intro sequence, makes up a little bit more of the, a little bit more time. But I think I'd be surprised if it's less. Especially for that episode, I think if it's touted as like a mid-season finale, a big episode,
if there's any episode that's gonna push 70, 80, if you're being super optimistic, it's gonna be that one. It's like I'll never be more hopeful beyond 65. 65 is the maximum I'll let myself be hopeful for, but dream big if you want to. I dream big all the time.
I'm gonna end this poll. People are saying Gaul, 40% hair. Lord Luke's up there, so I think. I think those are I think those are, if not favorite. Like, if you look at who's who, I don't know how they ended up on your guys's rank list. What did you end up calling it? Who are the most important characters?
Oh, the main character.
If you would, I think this would probably be the order these people would be in, right? Gaul, Lord Luke, Childfire, and Wellseen, I think, in terms of importance.
I mean, the two of those weren't on the list.
I know, but you know what I mean, like in terms of like.
Yes.
I'd be happy with any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they would be great, but I think it just made me think. The fact that Michael Wagner with the live cast and being in episode 3 or 4, and if 4 is Rhuidean, even though he was maybe not there, we don't know. Could he be like the Green Man or something like that? Are we going to see the Green Man? I guess that's the question. Is there room for a creature like who else is at Rhuidean? I guess or do we not need anybody else other than the people who go there? Is there any need for exposition or anything like that?
Wasn't it Latra is like the like they have an aged version of Latra who's going to be at like the founding of Rhuidean?
Okay.
Yeah,
that was a leak.
So that's the flashback. You mean they'll be in the flashback?
Yes, for the flashback. Okay. Yeah. So I'm thinking like so, because I'm thinking of who's there when they give all the stuff there. When they like are sending the stuff out at the meeting. and then who's actually in Rhuidean when they get there. I'm trying to map
Will we
all
see
that
the
out.
Green Man or the Nim? I guess that's
Yeah.
I feel like to put like that, the Green Man appearing in book 4 is already like a cool callback, guys. Like for people who read the books, like there's no meaning for it. It serves no purpose. Like that'd be like the callback without the original call. Like if we had it.
The thing,
okay,
the thing is, like, that entire
let-
sequence is justification for the creation of the Eye of the World, because you have all the elements there. You have Kalendar, which was
Right.
used to cleanse the taint to create the Eye of the World, and then you have the Green Man who's going to end up guarding it. So it makes sense that he's like, oh, I want to show that I've planned this out. I've thought of this. So when people come and ask me, how did the stuff get there? Here's the answer. For the people who want it. But outside of that,
Right.
we don't have the Green Man at the Eye. So like,
But yeah, I mean, can you make the other argument where the Green Man is at Rhuidean because everything that wasn't at the Eye is at Rhuidean? Not
maybe
everything.
I
but
could
yeah,
see that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I could buy that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
And the only
convince me
reason
that
is,
the clown.
they've transplanted things like that in the past, and I feel like not that they have a huge budget to do this, but these are the sort of things.
Maybe in the
like,
background we see maybe we see one like
a
floating in
statue,
test tube,
like a statue,
or like we see like far in the distance, like in a field of flowers, like a green thing crouching down, but it's so far away you can't see it, but it's a Green Man or something like that. Like you just know. It's like you just see him, like it's like 2 pixels in the background and you have to like zoom in really close, but he's there.
It's the Grinch, not the Green Man.
Right.
It's a Jolly Green Giant. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, there's a movie poster for the Green Man, and he's got like a movie, like a billboard, and you see him like pose or whatever like that. I'd love that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
It's a future city. They have movies. Come on.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Billboard probably
theater,
moved.
Theater
Yeah.
was strong in the Age of Legends.
Green Man Theater goes crazy, man.
the Green Man group, not the Blue Man group. That's what that's what it was back in the day.
Careful, Honest. Careful. Don't bring it into existence. Don't manifest that, 'cause I'll make it.
I feel like it's happened. Alan Wee's like, we didn't get Grom or Rockin'. I can't see a Green Man. Ow. So no
To be
Jamara.
fair,
Are you saying there's no Jamara? Is that what it is? There's only room for one big worm in TV. Yeah.
They were concept arted and they were compromised out of the deal, but they were at least on the table.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Yes, I feel like there could be Grom of the series still. They just
I
haven't
think
showed
there
up
could
yet.
be.
Yeah, they just haven't showed up yet. So
There you go. But I think it's one of the coolest things that can that a lot of people have been are waiting to see on their screen, right? Those 2 episodes or chapters, right? The Road to the Spear, and I think is dedicated the one after that.
I think so.
I think that's what it's called. And I think it'd be cool if they get it right because it's so good. And this is the part where you can make some changes based on plot, but I don't think that particular sequence needs a lot of plot. I think even if it is exposition, it's a cool way of doing it. And I think season 3 might peak, at least like as you're watching it. I'm still waiting for that Wheel of Time episode where everyone's like, "Did you see that last night?" That kind of conversation. And I personally thought episode 8, season 2 was awesome, was great, with that kind of effect to it. But it was the last episode, so the conversation dies afterwards.
Yeah.
That's why you can almost argue that most of the best Game of Thrones episodes were the penultimate episode. And
that's true.
Peaked or at least tried to peak there. All right, let's talk about the video John put out today. So, Objects of the Power. I forget what was kind of the the consensus, Tom, with Takar'rhiod talking with Inkeeper Hatch last week. What was what was the object of power that was most?
Man, I think we knew that John was going to be releasing a video kind of somewhat touching this. So I think in our last episode, we tried to put every possible scenario on the table. But I do think some of the things that we said were that the Choden Cal, if they appear on the show, won't be giant statues. They might just be the access keys, right? We also said that they might not both be the Choden Cal, right? That you might be able to say that at least, if not completely, at least on the male side, the Choden Cal and Kalendor get merged into one thing. I think those are things that I think we kind of agreed on.
Okay.
Out of it.
Yeah. So let me end. When we see the Green Man again, 2/3 say no, but there's a good 1/3 that say yes, and it's. I think that's
still believe.
Yeah, the season isn't out. The show isn't over. So the Green Man can still make an appearance. So, what object of power would you like to see in season 3? All right, let's frame it that way. So the Choden.
That's a wide open question.
Hey,
that is a huge question, man.
Hey, there you go.
There's a lot that appears in that book.
Sorry, you got 4 choices. You gotta get down. So Choden Cal, I got that in there. You gotta do Kalendor.
Portal stones. I'm going portal stone. I'm going portal stones.
There you go. Domination band.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Domination band.
Right. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Heck yes.
Heck yes.
But just before you're done, you've got did it. You've got the balefire rod.
Okay.
The stone ring, the dream tel'aran'rhiod.
The dream triangle.
True.
Right. You've got, I don't know who, like, whatever. I mean, we're assuming the glass columns are in there, but that's
let's
an object of power.
Maybe yeah. Okay, let's maybe not the ones you can't hold.
Portable objects.
Portable objects. There you go.
All right, fair enough.
With your hands, not with a wagon. You can't.
Yeah,
just
so
put,
the door, the twisted redstone door
count.
frame doesn't. I'm gonna put full book spoilers because we're gonna slowly get into
it's
talking
gonna
about
peter.
Let's not the redstone door frame. We won't have it. The sat bracelet is the domination band. We got that. So yeah, maybe. So Kalendor, I mean, again, the Choden Cal and Kalendor are 2 different things in terms of what they mean, but a strong sangreal that has some more relevance than being something that something that you do with, right? I think that's what that there's a prophecy. Like, is it important that there's a prophecy or something like that attached to it? Because I think Kalendor has that. The Choden Cal maybe doesn't have that, but it has it has Lanfear with it. So there's
it has the reputation, but that's it. Yeah.
But there is like we could rule the world. We could defeat the creator aspect to it. The Domination Man by itself is just such a great in terms of because we've seen it the Adam. So we're like, wait, can this happen to Rand?
It would make sense thematically to have it the season after you introduce the item to have another version of it.
So what's the last one? And so you said
Foxhead Medallion.
Oh, Foxhead Medallion, yeah.
Foxhead.
That's a good one.
Oh, man.
All right, hey, you have to choose here. Foxhead Medallion, Dream tel'aran'rhiod, and
there's so many happen.
And
you can only pick one, chap.
Oh man. I'm going to have to log on a few times to vote.
It's funny you
Uh,
mentioned the prophecies though, because like that is something Rand notes too, is that none of the prophecies mention the Choden Cal, and he's like, why is that? He's like why would this super powerful weapon not be included in
mhm,
some lesser thing like that's like a flawed thing like Kalendor is, and I
yeah.
find that interesting that you mentioned that because that's given me the first plausible reason to merge the two items for that
Yeah.
reason, in the sense of like if there is a female one that we find. And the opposing one is in tier, that gives him motive as well to cross the dragon wall and conquer tier with the IO behind him.
Right.
It sets up that motivation for the following season potentially. So it's interesting that you saying that made that potential scenario kind of play out in my
All
head.
right.
So
Kev's done a Twisted Ring, Fat Man Angreal. I think we saw that. Maybe we saw that already. We saw something
maybe
like
yeah.
that. Foxhead Medallion, Calendar, Balefire. Oh, Balefire Rod. That's a good one. I mean,
Yeah.
that potentially is relevant because we have that. And then Domination Band, all of the other Dream Triangle. So okay. I think the choices between Foxhead, Balefire Rod, and Dream Triangle. Which one? I'm going to the two of you in terms of trying to choose between these three to make it onto the poll. Okay, I'm gonna count to three. Blurt out the one you think should be on there. One,
Okay.
2, 3.
Foxhead.
Balefire Rod.
Oh,
You said Foxhead first. You said Foxhead first. Foxhead makes it and clears.
Foxhead. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with Foxhead, so there you go.
I think Foxhead's the
I
right
don't think you
choice.
need. I think Leandrin just knows Balefire. Like she goes, she can do Balefire. Like she doesn't need the thing to do it. She can be taught how to do it. Like Samael or whoever, like some Forsaken.
Mogedion picks her up
Mogedion,
in
exactly.
that.
Mogedion
Yeah,
shows her how to do it.
yeah.
There you go. Foxhead Medallion. There's no way of Foxhead Medallion, but as much as I wanted to be within this poll, I meant in this poll,
that's so
not in
funny.
the show. But the one that John mentioned is an object of the power. So this is information leaks that John hasn't been able to get, and in particular talking about a sa'angreal that's found in Rhuidean, and the one that it seems like this is, and again the actual the way John kind of introduces it, that it looks like what the Choden Cal axis key looks like. So it's like a sphere, a globe type structure. I don't know if there's a hand holding it, but that's again what it looks like, and it's actually called the Sakarn. Now it's like, okay, what is that? And that is interestingly something not by name, but it was definitely mentioned in the Shadow Rising. So I was talking to the two of you before we started, that it was mentioned in passing, and let me read this to you. This is Lanfear and Rand. This chapter 9, decisions. I cannot trust you fully, Leustherine. Not yet. She came closer, and he considers simply seizing her. He was bigger and stronger by far, and blocked as he was, she could wrap him up with the power like a kitten tangled in a ball of string. Not with that, certainly, she added, grimacing at Calendar. There are only two more powerful that a man can use. One, at least I know, still exists. No, Leustherine, I will not trust you yet with that. So there's two male sa'angreal that are based on this, stronger than Calendar, and the two that are is the Choden Cal, which is the strongest, and the Sakarn is that second one, and she talks about that. She probably knows that the Choden Cal exists, but she doesn't know.
She saw it. Right?
She saw it, right? Exactly. And the other one is one that was kind of lost, and that's the Sakarn. That's the one that Demandred uses in the last battle. So if you have not read the last battle, and it says full book spoilers. Demandred
Sorry.
exists,
Careful.
and he uses a songwell. Again, not gonna totally try to spoil that, but let me read the entry in the companion for that. I'm not sure if I'm, and then we could get to talking about, wait, why are we using a songwell named that in season 3, and like what's going on here? Let's kind of figure out what it is first. So the Sakarn, the name of the songwell used by Demandred in the last battle. In the Age of Legends, it was known as Digit, or the Scepter. For safety, it had been taken apart and the 2 pieces hidden separately. Demandred found the rod first. It was the length of his forearm, with the metal splaying out to a disc shape at the end. Demandred found the second part, which looked like a cup, in the Rhuidean, the Heart Tome in Shara. He claimed to have bound Sakarn to himself so that it could not be used against him. So again, he used this to pretty much balefire the world, and the pattern started to unravel. So it's extremely strong. And this, if you want to know more about this, and if you have not read The River of Souls, I think it's in a is it called compendiums? Is that what those?
One of those
Short stories put together.
A collection.
Yeah, a collection.
Yeah.
I think it's called Unfettered. Is the one that
Unfettered. I believe
that's it. Yep.
Yeah,
it
Brandon Sanderson released this kind of short story of Demandred's exploits in Shara, specifically talking about the Sakarn and how he found that, and how that deals with the prophecy of him becoming, their kind of chosen one for the Sharans. And I mentioned Jamara because of that, really, because there's a Jamara there that he beats.
Semi-canon too. Like it never made it past like the final pass edits, because it never made it into the actual Memory of Light. But it's like mostly canonical, but any inconsistencies are just because it didn't get that like final look over. But
I think
it's great. I like it.
I think it more kind of background.
Anthology. Thank you, anthology.
There you go. Yeah, more kind of background, kind of motivations and stuff about the Forsaken. Sure, but why is this specific one by name in season 3 of The Wheel of Time, and why is it seemingly what looks like the access key of one of the Choden Cal? Tom, how do you see that?
Well, I see that as the Sakarn, as featured in the books, is not planning to be in the show, and they really like the name. So,
okay.
And honestly, John mentions this as a video, and he says it as a joke, but I don't think he's wrong, right? The taint is not the taint on the show; it's the corruption. And he's like, maybe the Choden Cal, they just don't want people to say Chode. And I don't think he's wrong. I think it's possible that they're like, we don't need that. That's
you don't want to have a
focus
Chody
groups
on your screen.
The focus groups. The focus groups. When they it was Choden Cal until the end, and then they went to the focus groups and they're like, no, we have to change this. So
I showed it to my teenage son. He was like, "What?"
Like, I like that part about the Chode again.
Yeah, can you tell me about the tuna can? Sorry, never mind.
But I mean, so you think it's really they're like, okay, we can't use this name, so what else can we use? And why not use just Kalendor? Does that mean Kalendor will exist in the show? Like, because that would be the obvious kind of, in my head, if you're getting rid of that name. Well, if you're getting that rid, if it's the same thing, if it's the strongest songwell out there, why not just make it Kalendor?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's the one. Unless they actually want to use what the Sakarn is in terms of like, because there's a little bit more to it than just what's mentioned here. So, and again, I don't know how canon this is, but the way Taim sees it, and I was trying to find it's in the last battle. He sees Demandred use the Sangreal, and the wording is something to the effect of he put more than just channeling into it to make it work, or like it was taking more from him than just the power going into it. So there's a little bit more to
like a curse almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
There's
it's sapping his life
like
force, yeah.
Yeah, there's like something that you lose, or there's a catch per se to it, and I don't know if that could be the reason to do it, or the fact that he's that's something that can be bound to you, because that's a cool thing. Like if you have what do they call? I don't know if these exist in real life, but like weapons that are like only you can use, like in Metal Gear Solid. I've played that game.
Like like it only activates with your fingerprint or whatever.
It's not even fingerprint. It's even more than that. But like this is a similar kind of concept. Like, well, no one else can use this now. When I've bound this to myself, it's like a shard blade in terms of like that kind of like where it's bound to you. I don't know if that's the reason to use it. Tom, Kevin, thoughts of like using that aspect of it?
It's interesting to me because like when I first heard him talking about that part, the first thing I thought of was how sometimes when we have those audition scripts leaked to us, they change key names to other things that are real things in the show, but they're the wrong thing. And it's almost like I feel like we've gotten like tripped up by that stuff in the past, and I'm like, this could just be like it's an audition script. Just throw a name of a sangreal in there, or it's like a sample script. So like that's not outside the realm of possibility, and that was where
you just want Choden Cal to be in the show. Is that?
I would prefer, and then, maybe it's a little bit of a little copium, but I that was the first thought that came to my head. I think that these are some other plausible ideas about finding it just being a rebrand kind of thing, a test group thing, whatever,
right.
Behind the scenes kind of thing, or a consolidation thing, like you said. Maybe they want to have that binding it aspect be part of it, so it's interesting. I think there are other possibilities at play, but that was my first thought. I may as well, because
I mean it's fair to say, right, most people, there's a lot of things in these books, right, don't know the Sakarn that well, don't really maybe care for that as much as the Kalendor, or the Choden Cal, or Vorus Sarangarel for that matter, right? They're much more important. I just found so this is from the last battle. Demandred sat cross-legged at their center, his eyes closed. He breathed in and out slowly. The sangreal he used, it took something out of him, something more than just the normal strength required for channeling. So it's hard to know what that actually means. I don't think there's any clear canon, at least from what I could find, of what that means. But like, Tom, is there a reason to get all of that aspect of that named sangreal into the Shadow Rising and the story now? Or is it more, well, let's use a different name and it's the strongest kind of sangreal?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. My first instinct was the latter, that it was like a Coretta Nagashi thing in season 1, which is like, well, we have a character that we're going to put in here, and we'll just use another name from the books and make it that. So my instinct was like, okay, they're going to have two separate sangreal that replace the Choden Cal, and they're going to have two separate names for them. But I actually like the fact, like, hey, if we're going to call it the Sakarn, maybe we pull some of those elements into this and have that sort of like there's a flaw for both of these things, right? And the flaw on the Kalendor is there's no buffer, and there's other flaws too, as you found out. But like this thing is like, it's addictive, or there's a danger in using it, or you can get lost in it, or you can lose yourself in it, or whatever the case may be. I think that's kind of cool. And that adds, like, in my head now, like, okay, it's a globe, right? That's how it's described, right? It's a globe, and whether it's being held by a hand or not. If you get this element of, like, there's like this, it's taking something from you, or there's some kind of catch and using it,
Mm-hmm.
it adds a Palantir esque kind of echo from the Lord of the Rings films of like, hey, here's this powerful magical item, but don't use it because it's tainted or it's cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like not in the same way, but I think that would
Mm-hmm.
be a cool kind of mythical echo to have. So
Yeah.
you convinced me of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
it's interesting. It's interesting to have, yeah.
I think I always find it's like this is, I really kind of resonate with this. Kev says, I've never heard anyone in the WoT community mention the Sakarn other than acknowledging it existed. It's just not interesting. Like Demandred. Like like that's like the perfect like
Oh
thing to
man.
like he is once you read that other kind of River of Souls, and you're like, okay, maybe, but like other than that, like after book 6, and then him not being, the fact that he was not Taim just took so much away from Demandred, I think, and there's this element of, is this. Can this rival Kalendor? Yes, because it's actually stronger than Kalendor. So I think that's the, like, do we need more than one powerful, let's say male Sangreal? Like, is there a need for that? Talking about, let's say there's two, and if both have flaws, but do we need a second one like Vora Sangreal or Kalendor in this case, or does this mean, well, now you have something like this, and you say you have Kalendor, like that's it. We don't need more than one. Kevin,
Yeah, I could see the globe melting like it did in the actual cleansing. I could still see that being something, especially if we're getting our first trickles. I don't know if they'll do the full sea folk angle with it, but we're at least seeing them in season 3, so they exist as they did in the books
Mm-hmm.
in some capacity. So that could still be. I could still see them playing that angle, maybe making it a little bit more meaningful, because even Robert Jordan, I think, said like he was shocked that no one really cared about it, but also he didn't really build it up or make us care about it at the time. The
Right.
whole mass suicide thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a footnote. It's a footnote that
Right.
you blink and you miss it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people didn't even realize it happened. So it's interesting. It would be interesting if they were able to keep it and make it a impactful event, by still having like the interesting aspects you said, like the drawbacks, or the
Right.
it encourages you to draw more than you normally should, or something like that. So yeah, I still think that that's an interesting angle.
Yeah. I mean, let's for a second talk about the something that Robert Jordan struggled with. Maybe, right? We found Kalendor, and we put it back in, put it back into where he took it out, because
Power creep, as
what
it's
do
known.
what do we
Yeah.
do with this? So what do we
Yeah.
do with the Sakarn? Like, what is the purpose of a strong Sangreal in season 3? Like, are we cleansing the taint? Are we fighting a really strong Forsaken? Like, what's going to be the purpose of an object of power like this being introduced? Let's say in Rhuidean, maybe in episode 4 or whatever that may be. Is there, is this something where, Rand finds it, or let's say if it is something that only Cider users can use, Moraine finds it. Like, what can possibly be the use of this?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to assume, for the purposes of argument, that there is only going to be one powerful Sa'angreal for male and female,
Okay.
right? And that Kalendor is going to be that for the male, right?
Okay.
So
this is
this Sarkarnan is the female Sa'angreal.
okay.
So the purpose of it here is like, this is why Lanfear is here, and Rand has it now. So like that's like, and Rand's got to keep it secret and keep it safe from her.
Okay.
And
Because we see him doing that as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
and now that gives him even more drive to go get the other one, right?
Okay.
Which could be in Tyr, Sword of the Stone, and like that's a later season thing. he doesn't have to get it until he needs to use it.
Right.
And I think also, and this is I'm combining something that I talked about in my show last week, but like you can repurpose Samael's part in this show to be kind of like using some of Bilal's plot and be like, he's an alien, he's amassing an army because his goal is to get that thing. And he can't draw it out, so he needs to get Rand to be the leader of Tyr to draw it to fight him so he can get it or whatever it is. So like you could kind of repurpose that plot and make it like, I've got this is now my ticking time bomb. And I've got to find something that can neutralize it before Lanfear finds out that I have it.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm sorry. This is the kind of reaction I got it to when you said secret and safe. I was like, yeah, that totally with this fantasy trope. So the show gives us the sword and the globe. Yeah, it's. I mean, I think that's a really cool. Like, how do we keep Lanfear relevant, right? Like as much as we want to see Lanfear, like what is the purpose of going to Rhuidean, and how do the Forsaken and Lanfear kind of
because she basically has to be like undercover, like she cannot be seen near Rand or she's gonna die, so she's looking for an edge on Moghedien and everybody else.
Yeah, and the Forsaken, right?
Yeah, so she's on the defense, like she has to be on the defensive, so she needs to find a way to turn the tides back in her favor. She probably figures, if I can get access to this, then who are they to order me around once I have, I could challenge the creator with this. It sounds like something she would say, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So are we going to get Lanfear, like do we take it further where it's like Lanfear is the reason Rand goes to Rhuidean? Like, she tells him, hey, you have to, like, we need to fight the Forsaken, like we need to go get this, and she has her reasons, but then he kind of betrays her and keeps it for himself, or not for himself, at least keeps it away from her.
That makes her almost like a good guy. I don't want her to be good.
She's not good, but she is working for Rand in the shadows all throughout, the shadow. That is absolutely a thing. She's working to get him a teacher. She's figuring out how to make the connections for him. So I do think that if she is helpful, it has to be on her own terms, and we have to see that she has her own motives. Because if it's a purely like, I'm doing this for Rand, that feels wrong. In a way, that would feel like too narrow. Like that, there's no way Lanfear would have such a limited reason for that. So, and maybe we don't see that first, and we wait until we get there. But I think that if she's doing something, it has to. She's always holding it out for number one, and that's her. She Rand's a close two, but he's always two to her number one.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. So almost like I wouldn't mind it if it was like she was communicating to him. You've got to go to Rhuidean. There's stuff there for you. Blah blah blah. Like, and then when he gets there, he finds out no, she wanted him to find this for her.
Right.
And that's why she was pushing him so hard.
Yeah. It's manipulation.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We know how much he hates that.
Right. Yeah. It'd be interesting too. Because I always feel that especially for the show, right? If you find something, it needs to be like a clear. Okay, what do we do with this, or what threat does this pose, or what purpose does it have? And I feel like if this is indeed the Choden Cal replacement, or something like that, it'd be interesting what the reasoning behind it is. Do you think we see it used in a like a big fashion? There is not really a big one power battle. I mean, Asmodean and Rand do fight. Do you think? But let's keep with that. This is a Sidar Sangral. Who's using this, and is there a big fight at the end in terms of that? I mean, I guess I'm going down this path of who fights who, and who's using this, and is there a big fight at the end in terms of that? I mean, I guess I'm going down this path of who fights who, and who's using this, and is there a big fight at the end in terms of that? I mean, I guess I'm going down this path of who fights who, and when it comes to Lanfear, and there's only there's only one billing there. I think Moraine versus Lanfear. Like, is that what's happening? To the end of the season, are we getting to Fires of Heaven time in terms of that, and this plays into it? Is that the plot line?
I personally still think it's too soon.
Yeah.
But that's purely like a lot that has, it's a very complex topic, especially with, some people have very sensitive feelings about that whole when that happens, when it's going to happen, the way that
Right.
it's talked about, the way it's regarded. So
Yeah.
it will happen at some point. I just don't see it happening this year. I think it's too much stuff
Yeah.
for one season. And then I know that they mentioned hints of Fires of Heaven would be making it in, but even then, that's still the end of Fires of Heaven.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm no one's been able to convince me that it will. So I maintain that that's a season 4 thing personally. So
Right.
I don't. Yeah, maybe I don't. But yeah, I can't think of another
Well,
Chekhov's gun reason to use it though. It's kind of a
Wow,
weird one.
I just before I go to Tom, to you for that, I just ended the poll, and Fox and Medallion is like almost 50%. I think people did it to just spite me there. Just because I was like,
So I saw some of the comments in regards to why it happened, and I think people pick that because they want Matt to be on track
okay,
in this
And
in this season, and like if that has to be in the show because that puts Matt back on track.
And that's a different show. I could talk, for a couple hours about the ways that I think that the course is correcting itself this season, but
yeah,
that would take 2 hours at least.
Yeah. I think the question is, I guess what I'm asking is, will we see Moraine versus Lanfear in season 3?
And maybe it's a battle, not the war.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
could be like
yeah.
It could
I mean,
be
we did see a little bit
small-
of that, but clearly Lanfear was like so much stronger than Swan, right? Like there was no battle there.
Yeah.
So if we're getting an object of the power, and if we're saying it's a Sidar, a Sidar thing, is this what puts Moraine, on that kind of level? It kind of levels the playing field for versus Lanfear. Even though it might not be Fires of Heaven, that kind of thing, but are we still seeing that?
Man,
Tom's like, do I need to have an opinion on this?
I don't want to get there because I feel like I'm saying that you're gonna say the same thing, Kevin. Like in regards to what they're gonna do with the Eelfin and the Eelfin in this season is another like hour and a half long episode,
Yeah.
right? And so I would just say like I agree with Kevin. I think that's too early
Okay.
to have that resolution in this season.
Yeah. I mean, I think this at least puts the Rand is strong and can fight the Forsaken. Who's with Rand? And Moraine gets up, leveled up because of this. And if that's the reason, then that's I think that's a good enough reason to have it. I think it's a really and then you can throw in but there's also another partner to this, or there is Calendar and things like that. And how it actually plays out will be interesting to find. But I think it's the Sakarn interesting choices and changes, and I always much like Innkeeper Hatch, I'm like, why are you changing this? Like it's
Right.
there's a really good choices here for things, and I totally agree with what you started with this with Tom. Like they're not going to have the actual Sakarn, that the one that's in the books in the show. So they're like, oh, okay, let's just use that name because it's it's the Sangreal, and let's just use it for that purpose. And that might be it. That's it. Yeah.
It's certainly plausible.
Yeah.
I think, and I haven't really, surprisingly spent that much time thinking about this, but like, I think when we start thinking about why they're making changes they're making, we should start to really say like, okay, what do we anticipate season 8 of this show actually doing? Right? And reverse engineering from there, right? Like, okay, even if they do the last battle generally as it is in the books, it's not going to be the scale that it is in the books because they're not going to have the money to do that, right? So like, but like if you start reverse engineering from there and saying, okay, this is where they want to get to, this is what they're going to want to do, like what gets condensed, what falls by the wayside, all the rest of that stuff, right? So I don't know. I think that's the answer to the question, why do they make a change? I would say 80% of the time is based on that, and the other 20% of the time is based on money. But like,
right, yeah. I think that it does make sense, that they always have a reason, and again, money is probably a strong reason to make some of these changes. But yeah, I think the Shadow Rising coming to you in season 3. April? You guys think April?
April's my bet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a little before then. I think March.
Okay. So you think?
I think March is great.
You think we're within 6 months?
2 months for a while.
You think we're within 6 months?
I think we've just crossed the 6-month mark. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna give this poll a little bit longer, and we can ask people what they think. Are we in the final stretch? The last 6 months. I mean, that 6 months is nothing.
I know.
So
that's 4 months before they can start marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's joking, but also very real.
Also true. Also true. Yes.
I mean, post holidays, that's all they do is marketing.
Yeah, it is.
Here's my I've hoped for it every year, but I honestly do think there's potential that we will get a Super Bowl commercial for this show this year.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
Because I think the timing is going to work out. Like it'll be a Prime Video Super Bowl commercial, and this will be featured.
Yeah, I think that would be really
if it's
going to
happen to a season, it's this one.
Yeah. That's no, I think that totally makes sense. While we talk about, we'll look at this poll. Let me end it. Actually, a lot of 60% of people are thinking, yeah, maybe we will see Moraine versus Lanfear in season 3. Again, in some degree that does make sense. I mean, those are one of the kind of most important characters from season 2, and we need to see some degree of I can't see them being on the same side, and if they're not on the same side, we need to at least see them go head to head in some manner. I got this. Thank you, Ben and Chiat. This is just so we confirm.
There they are.
There's some bread, and what's that on the right? So
I don't think this is a Trolloc cookpot. I think this is the people's cookpot that was just left over after
the Dark Friends.
Oh, come on, Tom. That
maybe
they gave us a cookpot.
You think the Trollocs are spending time grilling bread?
I think they're spending time dicing garlic as well.
I mean, that's garlic. They like we might not have seen a Trolloc talk, but they like seasoning on their
Trolloc chefs.
That's
and some nice pitas,
Oh my gosh, Kevin! I think there's an opportunity for you to do a Swedish chef Trolloc mashup.
I think you're right. I'm just gonna make another note real quick.
But there you go. I think. Thank you. I mean, they like a good side dish. This is this is not the main course. This is on the side. I feel like that was someone in that production was like, oh, potatoes, let's fantasy Lord of the Rings, we need to do this somehow. Jennifer,
it does look like
darn no limbs.
I honestly believe that their thoughts were as just random phrases as that, Potatoes, fantasy. Lord of Rings, yes.
Lembas bread.
I mean,
Garlic cloves.
I mean, the garlic is like ready. Like someone went,
so fun.
someone like you know
Yeah.
either did that or bought it. I don't know if where this was filmed, if this was filmed in Prague, but someone went to the farmers market there and got this. Um, uh, Something else that's happening in Prague this weekend is Malir Con. So 3 days left. Get your ticket. You can't get in-person tickets because those are not available anymore. But this is in Prague this year. And you can scan that or go to malirtalks.com/registration and get yourself a virtual registration so you can be part of the fun. Innkeeper Hatch actually was texting me just a little while ago. He is flying out tomorrow morning. Well, actually, no. Tomorrow evening is when he's flying out to Prague. So he'll be there. I doubt he'll be doing any streaming. He might surprise and just and do something over the weekend, but definitely look at go to that link and be part of the fun. There's a couple of people from production who'll be there. There's definitely Guy Roberts who's going to be the guest of honor, and I think there's a virtual panel with I'm blanking on Natty Cawthon, the actress who plays Natty Cawthon.
With chickens.
Yes, hens. Yes. I'm pretty sure. Again, I could be wrong, but I remember seeing that as a something that was advertised. And if that has changed, don't hold me to it, or Rob to it. I'm
holding you to it.
How could I someone in chat? Jill Howland, there you go. Thank you, Ninja Librarian. Do you guys still do hen news? I actually don't know if
I think there might be one this week coming up.
Okay,
but and there's yes, and so there's actually going to be at MaliriCon, like they're going to be naming one of Juliet's hens. There's going to be a contest.
Exactly.
There,
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
That's that, and then there's also going to be people. Right? Aren't there going to be people who worked in the costuming?
Yeah.
For season 1 and season 2 going to be
exactly.
part of it.
The two people, I don't have that information right.
Rob Goodwin is the leather worker, and I'm blanking on the other person's name right now, but she did the costuming for like the group scenes and things like that.
Like a costume crowd control. No, it wasn't crowd control. It was
supervisor.
Something like that. Yeah, who was part of that. So yeah, I mean definitely people who again, part of the show. I'm sure there's plans to see some of the cool places season 1 and 2 were filmed. So yeah, definitely check that out. A lot of fun to be had. Last poll as I start our giveaway for the night. What do you think, March? Give me a date now. I think let's make it. So look at.
Now I'm in April.
Look at
I can't
Fridays.
do 3-2-4 now.
Look at Fridays.
That's right.
Look at Fridays. So I think it's fair to say, given that Prime has stuck to 3-episode premiere and a weekly release, is probably what's going to happen for Wheel of Time season 3. And at this time, it came out early, didn't it? Rings of Power came out like Thursday morning Eastern.
Yeah. So if you remember, for season 2 for us, originally on the website, it listed the airtime as 3 a.m. Eastern time. That was the original airtime that was listed on the website. And then they changed it like 2 days before the premiere to 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I was expecting them to do that for Rings of Power when they made the same mistake, I assumed. Yeah. But they didn't. They kept it. So it aired at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, it
but
did,
I thought it was on Thursday.
It was technically Thursday. So it's Wednesday. It's actually tonight. It's airing tonight at 3 a.m.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So in like 5 hours, or less than 5 hours. So
cool.
It's confusing. So it's our Thursday at 3 a.m. is when they air.
Okay. Well,
for the Eastern time. I say our. I know it's our. Everyone in this call is on the Eastern coast, so it's our collective time zone.
There you go. That's all we talk about. Now we talk about Eastern time as our adopted Dusty wheel time too, even though that's not where Inkeeper Hatch is.
No.
So, when will Wheel of Time season 3 premiere? There you go. That's the question.
Oh.
You want dates?
Oh yeah, let's throw 2 Fridays out.
You're getting the first official like hard date theory from me. I haven't committed to a date yet.
That's okay. That's okay. We're doing it right now. Let me start our giveaway. This is a Dusty Wheel mug, and it's exclamation point Raffle. It's in the chat.
I'm gonna go 6 months. I'm gonna say March. If it's Friday, March 7th.
March 7th, 20.
I'm gonna go early. I'm going.
Okay. Wow. Oh, March 7th. Wow. That's. All right. Cool. Okay. Kev.
Put it out there. Put it out there in the universe.
I think that's good. And I think
I think it's good, but it's not correct.
Well, no. It's plausible. It's plausible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with April 11th, which would put it, I think, 2 weeks before Choden Cal.
I like that.
I think that that Fallout aired on April 12th this year, so I think they're aiming for they're aiming for that same slot. That would be Friday the 11th. So Thursday the 10th into Friday the 11th would be is going to be my guesstimate. So
okay, all right, okay, all right, and we'll give. Wait, do we want one more? No, 2. Just 2. Let's see what people like. Do they like early April or early March? Wow, that would be something.
324 isn't even like plausible because the 24th is a Monday. So
okay, there you go.
I couldn't even fake that one. Although I guess
Brian's like, the grave is no bar to our optimism. That is true. That is rare gesture. I love the optimism of Wheel of Time fans. I think that would. I'm just thinking of marketing and things like that.
Joe Perry's saying Valentine's Day.
That would be wild.
That's bold. That's bold.
That is. I didn't go that crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
coming after my own heart.
I mean, the what they can have with the Rand and Celine or Rand and Lanfear marketing there. Oh, there was the May. Did you like the May? The Mother's Day May from the Wheel of Time. Not the Wheel of Time. Amazon Prime, New Zealand.
Well, so you don't have to wait till Mother's Day.
That was the key there. Was they said you don't have. To
I should have put.
The
earliest I would go is May actually. So I should have put that in there. I should have put a thing. Maybe next time. The earliest.
I think May is a reasonable.
Okay. I personally think I think it's gonna be August next year. I really think.
I really
careful,
don't think...
buddy.
Yeah,
careful, buddy.
I think they're gonna go with San Diego Comic-Con. They're gonna go with the same the same thing that they've done with Rings of Power. I hope they don't do that, but yeah. That's just my this is if people talk about the optimism of Want fans, this is the the pragmatism or of Wheel of Time fans.
We need each other to balance each other out.
True.
I'm ready for it in March. I mean, there's no, but yes, I think they need to they need to address August. They need to give us something in August, and they didn't. Yeah, exactly. What's in August? There you go. But yeah, I think we're getting closer and closer. The first, I really hope they have an Wheel of Time season 3. Like next month when the Rings of Power finale comes out, they have something to that effect with that. I don't know if New York Comic Con would make any sense, but I think if New York Comic Con, if there's anything Prime or Wheel of Time, I don't know if there's still tickets.
Prime, they're. I think the tickets are done. Well, you might be able to still get some.
Like a day pass.
Whatever. Yeah, the multi-pass ticket is done Saturday. Is sold out. It has been sold out for a while.
Yeah.
But they've been on Friday the last couple of years. Prime Video is going to be there. There's a number of actors from Fallout that are featured guests. Like so Prime Video is going to have a presence at New York Comic Con.
Okay.
Like, I think that's as definite as you can get. Like, when you go to the New York Comic Con page, it heavily features people from Prime Video shows. But yeah, we'll see. I think there is potential, because Rings of Power will have been over, for them to say like, hey, everybody who loved Rings of Power season 2, watch this one as well. But they could also, they've done this a lot, especially with Rings of Power, which is like push everything else away from it, and like, this is our big thing, and like, we don't want to draw attention to other things. We want you to look at this. So we'll see.
I think what keeps me hopeful is remembering that New York Comic Con in 2022 is where we got the Matt and Elaine clips. That was where they aired. So like, I think that's, you know, and it was the same situation then as well, because Rings of Power aired that August, the end of August, that same exact slot actually. So it wrapped up right around the same time as well, right before it. So I do agree that they definitely love to.
I mean, last year we had, you know, like Rafe and team there talking about, you know, Kenchiko, Rhuidean. Then Rafe did that screening of episode 8, I think, the day after, like a private screening with fans and
Fallout 2 Fallout has the Emmy consideration stuff, so they're gonna be, you know, they are the golden child. Not to say Rings of Power isn't, but they're the new hotness as far as what they've just kind of struck gold on. So they're gonna be at least the two main presences they have there. But
there you go, Joe saying they did a panel together, both Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. I mean, that's definitely
nice. I didn't realize that.
Interesting.
That was that was we were there for the one where they did the that's the Matt and Elaine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that they were combined.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it'd be cool if we get that next month. That's the earliest I think, you know, we could get something, and at least John has said he's going to have a lot more drops the next few Wednesdays. So I'm planning to need to look at you know, season 3 stuff like this. The one thing that Inkeeper Hatch and I've talked about that we'll start to get into is some of those other, you know, book related things. The one that I've been thinking of and I've had planned for I don't know how long is this, the glass columns. Like, I mean, a deep dive into that. It's something that I've been extremely excited to see, but let's, you know, look at the books and see what are the glass columns, and, you know, we'll look into that in detail. So that's one I'm planning. I don't know when. If you're saying it's the next 6 months and we have to talk about it within the next 6 months, I guess we'll have to talk about it in the next 6 months. But if we have no indications that we'll have us we're getting it in that time frame, it might be 6 months before you see this. It might be in the next month. I don't know. It really depends on, because this is one I want to do justice and look at, you know, RJ's notes and things like that. Okay, all right. So, any other final thoughts before we say goodnight, Kevin, Tom? I think congratulations, Tom. 5 years doing Talk
Yes,
Around
congratulations.
1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think you've hit that. Does that mean we're gonna get something special?
Yeah. So when we do, like, we've been working on a new parody song. You know, so we're gonna, when we do our 5-year celebration episode, we'll drop that. That was what the promise was, to try and get us over that hump. And then I think we're also just we're gonna start this week with our rewatch of season 2. So we're bringing back our never reader, Brendan, to come in. We're gonna rewatch season 2 and see if our thoughts changed on any of that, which, you know, should be fun. I haven't since it's first aired, and I watched every episode like 18 times. I haven't done a full season 2 rewatch in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to it.
That I almost want to do like season 1 and season 2, but that would be interesting to see the whole. But I don't think I'll do that now.
Maybe before season 3.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Like everyone takes the weekend off and we all just watch because it is 16 hours of at least minimum content. That's a long time.
That's something to say. 16 hours of Wheel of Time.
Gotta get some bio breaks in there and some lunch.
Yeah. Okay, people are.
Just everyone
for the
the raffle. That's right.
The raffle. Let's see who has won here. I've closed the entries. Let me pick a winner. Penny.
Hey,
Penny.
Penny!
You may have seen Penny if you follow her on
Congratulations,
social media. Was at Dragon Con and then also had a cool chibi, an Ashaman
Yeah,
chibi.
just got our chibi. Yeah.
So congratulations. That's you now. You can now. You know how to get in touch with me. And a Dusty Rule mug. That's you can choose from the website. Again, Tom, congratulations. Kevin, thanks for being here. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Everybody prepare. The clocks is starting. I know you're all asleep. You're all in the middle of the longing. It's not gonna last that much longer. Just prepare your butts. And just all I'm saying.
This is really cool. All of us here just binge season 1 Monday.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, I actually rewatched when Rings of Power aired as well.
Okay, cool.
I didn't want to watch it the first night. I was like, I'm gonna watch Wheel of Time the first night, just because.
That's good. I've been watching Twin Peaks. If you have not seen Twin Peaks, watch Twin Peaks. A lot of fun. 3 seasons of the most weird stuff you can imagine, and pretty cool.
I've always heard good things. I've always been tempted.
You would enjoy Twin Peaks so much.
It's great. It's great, and it's Kevin. I think Twin Peaks might be my favorite show ever. But like, it has a lot of humor that doesn't normally get publicized when people talk about it. People talk about the weirdness, and the horror,
especially the first 2 seasons. It's just amazing in terms of there's a comedic, comical timing to everything that I like. There's
I
other
appreciate
stuff that,
comedy.
But it's not. Again, I have finally realized why it's so special. I still have gripes with a lot of things, but I can see why people feel so strongly and have a cult following. It's.
I think whatever. Please, because this is. You think I could talk long about some of the other things we've talked about? Like I won't stop. But I think it's very rare that you see something like if you watch Citizen Kane, like you go, oh okay, it's a good movie, but like you don't understand. Like at the time, it was revolutionary because it changed how movies were made. But like you can still watch Twin Peaks today and go like, oh, like that's just different than what most television is. You don't normally get that with things that kind of break the mold.
You've caught my hook, which is my eyebrow. If you see my eyebrow going, it means I'm you've caught my attention.
He's getting beat up by Batman.
Oh, all right.
The music, yes, the music will be.
It's
in
my
your
dad
head.
trick, yeah.
Also, yen for cherry pie, yes. Yeah. So, that's what I watched the last 2 weeks and just binged it and I'm done with it and want more, and that's it. There's no more. We'll be back hopefully next week because John said he's going to be dropping a lot of stuff, so we'll keep talking about this stuff. Maybe I don't know what Innkeeper Hatch is planning. He's away in Europe, in Prague. Go check
filming
that
some
out.
Scenes for season.
There you go. Yeah, maybe we'll find out. Yeah, but we'll be planning to be back. Check out tel'aran'rhiod. Check out Kevin on Twitter Time, Tarval on After Dark. Yeah, and we'll be back. And as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and smash the black.
Welcome to the Dusty.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well.
Scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the 2 rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm not white.
I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
it does make sense why it outlasted the breaking. That's all I'm saying. See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge. Yay!
Carol's like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
This is not just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right?
Wait. Innkeeper Hatch is in the chat, and he just asked for an encore. So, what do you want to know, Matt? Do you want to call in? The it's active.
Oh, the lines are open.
If you
It's
want to call
show.
in, call in. I'm gonna leave this open for another 2 minutes. Is what we're gonna do. We could talk more Twin Peaks. I mean, I didn't know I liked donuts and coffee until I watched Twin, like how much I like the combination of that until that. I don't know if you like cherry pie or pie in general, Kevin, but you will like it more. You would like it more.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it more. It won't ruin it for me.
No, it's like there's like food porn elements to the show, and just how much certain characters relish coffee and pie and donuts, and like not in a gluttonous way, but in a take
Sensual?
life's pleasures way when they come kind of a way. Yeah, in an almost sensual way.
Yeah, we do have a call. Let me bring whoever this is in here.
Oh, we've got a call. All right.
Hello, who's this?
This is the Innkeeper.
Oh my god.
What are you up to? Are you in
What's up
Prague?
with you guys like ending the show early? I just don't get it. Like
Early.
It's
like
2
8
hours
o'clock
in.
the I don't know what you're talking about. But what did I miss? What did I miss?
Did you see any of John's stuff today?
No.
Do you
wanna get
follow?
mad?
Do you follow Wheel of Time news anymore?
Look, dude. Look. I'm busy. I'm traveling. Okay.
People will talk about
airplanes
this.
have Wi-Fi now. The airplanes have Wi-Fi now. You've got no excuse, man.
People will.
It was a Southwest flight, so it was like $8, and I didn't want to.
All right, fair. You got me.
But yeah, you talk with Joe and Tom last Friday on their podcast about objects of the power.
How right were we?
I'll let Tom answer this.
We weren't 100% wrong. I'll say that.
Sweet.
It looks like some of the things that we threw out there as like very strong possibilities look like they might be right.
Okay.
Some of the things we threw out there are wrong, but that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you wrong about? What were you wrong about, Tom?
Wait, why is it me who was wrong?
Yeah, drag him.
Sort of so I think I don't want to get too much into the details, Matt, just because like we didn't want to. John's video discusses like what's found and the
scene basically
and the scene.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to talk too much about the scene here because there's no context for it, and we didn't want to kind of get off on a tangent. So I think the scene we did not consider at all.
Okay.
And that I would say. But it does look like there's probably a combination of things. Right? That it looks like that there might be different objects of the power that are combined or simplified.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If there is the strongest sangreal that you can think of, but it's not called the Choden Cal, what would be your top 3 names for it? That's canon. That's from the books. Because we have that. We do have that.
Well, we have that whole we have that whole. Wasn't there a sangreal that we never? I don't think it had a name. Didn't Lanfear once say that there were like 2 sangreal that were even more powerful?
Interesting you bring that up, Matt Hatch. We may have talked about that very scene today.
We literally I literally had a slide from the Shadow Rising from Lanfear saying that. So yes, that
awesome.
is
Okay. that like So was that the theory of the what was the most predominant theory that came out of the show tonight then about like this?
Well, we know what it is. We actually know the name. It is that.
Okay.
It is the.
Okay.
So not to we've talked about this and not to spoil it for you now because you kind of hit it the nail on the head that it is that other at least the name because we actually know the name the one Lanfear talks about is the one Demandred has in the last battle. It's named the Sakarn.
By the way, what was it?
The Sakarn.
The Sakarn.
What is the name?
Yeah.
Okay, this is bad because we're live right now. We're live, right?
It's
we're live now.
It says full book spoilers.
It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, so this is the one that Demandred finds in Shara, that one
that he's using at the end.
Yeah, like
this is when you're like I only know when Lanfear says it. Demandred, I have no idea.
The fact that Demandred uses it, forget about that.
When Demandred came back, it was kind of like whatever. I didn't really care about that part.
I guess that's where he was. All right.
Hey, the Innkeepers agree on Demandred, I think.
Yeah, the consensus.
Look, I had a different focus in the last battle. Okay.
But it looks like it might be repurposed. I'm guessing this is not definitive, but I'm guessing it's being repurposed as the female Choden Cal, and that they're going to get rid of the Choden Cal name.
And my theory is that it's an audition script with the name switched. So
yeah.
Okay. I feel like I have to go back and read a little bit of the Demandred section.
Yes.
To have better to add to the theorizing here. Okay, I mean, that's pretty fun. Yeah. I mean, so like I guess we weren't right.
No,
we weren't necessarily. We just weren't right. That's fine.
No, but I think didn't you say that if they were to get rid of the Choden Call, it would make sense to just have, Kalendor and a matching, strong, female Sidar Sangral, right? Like,
yeah. I think we talked about the fact
that a lot of stuff that day.
Right. Well, I think that's the basic thing we did was try and cover every possible base so that we would be right for 1 minute. I think that it looks it looks like the Sa'angro, whatever they are going to be hand sized and not the statues. Remember, I think we it looks like that part is probably right. That there's no access keys. That whatever they're holding is the thing.
I love this.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
This comment in chat, Kevin Hansen, man knows his Lanfear. I don't know why it took you 5 years to end this call to make that comment, but yes,
that's a Kevin, all right. That's a Kevin, all right.
But yeah. that is true.
Matt doesn't know his Demandred, that's for sure.
No.
Not after Demandred wasn't Taim. That's I think the.
Look, it just eventually wasn't cool anymore. It was cool for a while to talk about him.
Yeah,
okay, so is that the only news piece? Basically,
we talked about some cast.
There's
some, today he came. His one today was about that. But the last couple videos he's done is about new cast. That I think I don't know if there's a consensus, but we went with either Lord Luke, Gaul, and the other person being someone who dies, either a Two Rivers man who ends up in a Trolloc cookpot, or a Gleeman who dies in a fire or something. So those are.
So and this is and this kind of extends out from the kind of podcast recording.
Right.
The same kind of news. Okay.
I don't know if you.
Cool. By the way, I'm thinking I should make this a thing where I don't watch the show. I just call in at the end and have you summarize the show with me for 10 minutes.
Oh, that'd be great if you got on TikTok.
It can only be if you jump in chat when I finish the show and we do an encore. So it can only be an encore.
You have to call it out.
Okay.
It can't be you there.
I did. I literally. I opened. I was standing at the airport. We just gotten off the plane. I was waiting for my sister-in-law to pick us up. I was like, they can't play live. I opened YouTube, and literally when I started typing, it was exactly the moment when I was like, "Good night, everyone," because I just everyone's leaving. So The timing was perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
So
thank you for coming back live and entertaining me for a couple of minutes here, gentlemen. I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to going back and reading about Demandred and having
you're like I have to now.
Memories to,
I don't want to.
Well,
but
it's so
I
funny
have
when
to.
you said like name a sangreal that could be different, and my brain was like, how about one that I don't even know about that Lanfear was talking about because I can't remember any of the names.
I didn't even remember that
so
scene
that was my
existed
answer.
until today, and that was your first answer. I can't believe that.
Exactly. Like, we're like, what are you talking about? When does that happen? And you're like, oh, remember this one sentence? It says in chapter 8 of book 4.
Look, it's a Lanfear mystery. Those are omnipresent for me. So yeah, no, I get it, but apparently you all knew about this name of this sangreal that showed up in the last battle that I could much for.
It's not really remarkable
that's
otherwise.
something too.
Yeah. I think you proved what part of our discussion was, that it's a name that they're using probably and nothing else. But yeah, again, yeah. If you want to make this a segment, you can make this the Innkeeper encore segment.
It was just the Rusty Wheel segment.
The Rusty Wheel.
It was like the Rusty Wheel segment where I show up and then I make some Lanfear comment that no one remembers, and then people remind me about things that I should remember from the book.
There you go.
When you summarize the show. So,
all right,
I like it. Well, thank you for having me on, and we'll let you guys end the evening. Good night.
All right, thank you all again. Good night from the Dusty Wheel, and Smash the Black.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm not wearing one.
I see Lukomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge. Yay!
Pair of like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
This is not just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi elements.
And just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me. And
probably, I would say, put in 70, 80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,